3. Respiration. Pitchcarry, rubber tube, lime water, tube, test tube containing lime water. Figure 5.7. Air being passed into lime water with a pitchcarry. Syringe air being exhaled into lime water. We have discussed nutrition in organisms in the last section. The food material taken in during the process of nutrition is used in cells to provide energy for various life processes. Diverse organisms do this in different ways. Some use oxygen to break down glucose completely into carbon dioxide and water. Some use other pathways that do not involve oxygen. In all cases, the first step is the breakdown of glucose, a 6 carbon molecules, into a 3 carbon molecule called pyruvate. This process takes place in the cytoplasm. Further, the pyruvate may be converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide. This process takes place in yeast during fermentation. Since this process takes place in the absence of air oxygen, it is called anaerobic respiration. Breakdown of pyruvate using oxygen takes place in the mitochondria. This process breaks up the three carbon pyruvate molecule to give three molecules of carbon dioxide. The other product is water. Since this process takes place in the presence of air oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. The release of energy in this aerobic process is a lot greater than in the anaerobic process. Sometimes when there is a lack of oxygen in our muscle cells, another pathway for the breakdown of pyruvate is takes. Here the pyruvate is converted into lactic acid, which is also a 3 carbon molecule. This buildup of lactic acid in our muscles during sudden activity causes cramps. Glucose, glucose 6 carbon molecule in cytoplasm, pyruvate 3 carbon molecule plus energy. Absence of oxygen in yeast. Ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. 2 carbon molecules. Lack of oxygen in our muscles. Lactic acid plus energy. 3 carbon molecule. Presence of oxygen in mitochondria. Carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Figure 5.8 breakdown of glucose by various pathways. The energy released during cellular respiration is immediately used to synthesize a molecule called ATP, ATP full form adenosine triphosphate, which is used to fuel all other activities in the cell. In these processes, ATP is broken down, giving rise to a fixed amount of energy which can drive the endoplasmic reaction taking place in the cell. ATP, ADP, ATP full form adenosine triphosphate. ATP is the energy currency for most cellular processes. The energy released during the process of respiration is used to make an ATP molecule from ADP and inorganic phosphate. ADP plus P. ADP full form adenosine diphosphate plus phosphate. Energy ADP P is equal to ATP. Endothermic processes in the cell then use this ATP to drive the reaction when the terminal phosphate linkage in ATP is broken using water. The energy equivalent to 30.5 kJ mole is released. Think of how a battery can provide energy for many different kinds of uses. It can be used to obtain mechanical energy, light energy, electrical energy, and so on. Similarly, ATP can be used in the cell for the contraction of muscles, protein synthesis, conduction of nervous impulses, and many other activities. Since the aerobic respiration pathway depends on oxygen, aerobic organisms need to ensure that there is sufficient intake of oxygen. We have seen that plants exchange gases through stomata and the large intercellular spaces ensure that all cells are in contact with air. Carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged by diffusion. Here they can go into cells or away from them and out into the air. The direction of diffusion depends upon the environmental conditions and the requirements of the plant. At night, when there is no photosynthesis occurring, CO2 elimination is the major exchange activity going on. During the day, CO2 generated during respiration is used up for photosynthesis, hence there is no CO2 release. Instead, oxygen release is the major event at this time. Animals have evolved different organs for the uptake of oxygen from the environment and for getting rid of rid of the carbon dioxide produced. Terrestrial animals can breathe the oxygen in the atmosphere, but animals that live in water need to use the oxygen dissolved in water.